we are live, but somebody will have to verify that for me. Before I go any further, for those of you first time viewers of the Plaid Avenger here on the Twitch channel, before I get wound up and actually start talking about anything, could I get a verification from one or multiple of you that you can both hear and see me on your computer screens right now, or your iPad screens, or your telephone screens? Why do we even call them phones anymore? Does anybody use a phone to actually talk to people? But whatever device you're using, wherever you are on planet Earth, could I get a shout out in the chat room that somebody can actually see me and hear me? That would be great. Oh, and I already have our first chatter of the semester. It's Christopho. Christopho says all clear. Thank you, Christopho. Another first-time chatter from Ellie Petit. Ellie Petit says hello. We can hear and see and hear you. A first-time chatter from Hallis FN says hello. Well, look at that! Already in the first 1 minute of the semester, which hasn't even officially started yet, the first 1 minute of our online office hours, 3 wonderful, wonderful students have hit me up and confirmed that I am now live on Twitch. And by the way, you're probably the only 3 here in the chat room watching me on Twitch, but that's okay. I'm here for you, no matter how many of you are here. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, we got a fourth. First-time chatter from Cat101684 says, where is the Plaid Avenger? Who knows? Whoever knows where the Plaid Avenger's at? First-time chatter from Natty Man says, make that 5. Boom! We're up to a full handful, which means I got to give you people some extra credit for being the first 5, the fabulous first 5. So would all 5 of you, if you're listening to me right now, email me at my Virginia Tech email address. That's JOBOYER at vt.edu. And you just earned yourselves 5 points for being the first fabulous 5 chatters here this semester. And you're already heading towards an A, and the class hasn't even started yet. So now that it is official, and there's 5 of you that are here, I can make this completely official, that welcome! Welcome, friends. Welcome, students, friends, family from across the great planet that are tuning in to the Plaid Avenger here on Twitch, my favoriteest of favorite platforms online. And that's not saying much because I'm old and clueless and don't really know that much about other platforms online. But welcome to Spring 2024 classes, plural classes, because this is a joint communique for the Geography of Wine class, Geog 4054, and the ever awesome World Regions class, Geog 1014. So this will be the first and maybe the only joint online office hours because the semester hasn't even started yet. So I'd like to kind of make it a group effort from the start because there's not very many specific questions yet. So this is just a general hello, how are you doing? And for those folks that are not at Virginia Tech who are randomly browsing around on Twitch and they're like, who the hell is this idiot? My name's John Boyer and I am a professor, believe it or not, here at Virginia Tech, home of the Fighting Hokies, the greatest university east of the Mississippi. And we're launching the new semester here in spring 2024. So we have another first-time chatter from Swish_TN who says, howdy. Welcome, Swish. I don't know if you heard me say this, but if you email me right now, you just got yourself some extra credit. Even though you're the 6th person who's chatted, we'll still give you 5 points for being part of the furious, fast and furious first 5 who chatted. So this is a general meet and greet. I do not have any sort of big lecture for you. I don't have any specific tasks. I am merely here to welcome you all to the class and to field any questions that you all might have about the operating procedures of world regions or geography of wine. Perhaps it's and or. Is there anybody taking both classes? That has happened in the past, but not too often. I see that Plaid Katie just subscribed with Prime. Thank you, Plaid Katie. You can subscribe with Prime and get some sort of gift or features or something here on Twitch. Again, I'm old and decrepit. I cannot pretend I really understand how all that stuff works. But there's something happens if you subscribe or follow or click things or give subscriptions or give gifts. All kinds of crazy things that have happened in the past, none of which I particularly understand. So, because this is the initial meeting, and I do not have any particular thing to say to you all, do you all have any questions? Are all 5 of you that are here, have any of you all looked at the syllabus yet? Have you read through how the classes work? Oh, wait a minute. I just got a subscribed with Prime from Cat 101684. Thank you, Cat, for subscribing. Wow, 2 subscribers in the first 5 minutes of the semester. This is a banner year for me here on Twitch. Again, I don't know what that gets me besides the all-star acclaim of 2 people having subscribed, but I'll take what I can get. So, for those of you that are hanging out with me that have had the clairvoyance, the foresight, the interest and curiosity to actually participate in class before it even begins, have you already read through the syllabus? Do you like what you see? Do you have questions about any specific content or any specific topic or any specific assignment that you would like to have more clarity on? Let's see. Hallis FN says, read through the syllabus, all clear. Awesome. Thanks for that. Am I pronouncing that right? Hallis FN. And Kat says, watch the intro video, and hopefully that helped as well. Perhaps things got more muddied if you watched the intro video and you were in the wine class, because that intro video is specifically for world regions. So hopefully it helped out, and if not, let me know what's up. Let's see. Ellie Pettit says, I just need clarification. We read the book on VitalSource and then take the test and quizzes on Moodle. Does that sound right, Katie? If you have the ebook, Katie is saying that that is correct. So you can also have a paper copy of the book, which I have one around here. I meant to actually collect up the books to show people. But I can take a TV timeout in a minute because I think I have most of the books around here. And that little bookshelf I have there on the top shelf, I wonder if I've got all the wine books in there. And I know we got tons of the Plaid Avenger book over in the back area. So, let's see. It's saying level 1 hype train at the top of this chat box. I don't know what any of these things mean. Let's see. I'm catching up now. Yes, Ellie. You do, if you got the digital book, and that's an entirely different program that you read the digital book on. And then all class assignments for both classes are on this outside platform called Moodle, which if anyone in geography of wine has likely already taken world regions. Maybe I'm wrong. But most folks that take the wine class have already taken world regions. They've already gone through the Moodle system when they took world regions, so they already know how that works. Everybody in the wine class probably already knows how Moodle works, and they already have an account there, so it's real easy to slip right back in when you're a senior taking the geography of wine. For you first-timers to world regions, you will find instructions in the syllabus and instructions on the inside cover of the book, I believe, if you get a paper copy. I don't know how it works with digital. That will direct you to the Moodle site. It's all, again, the instructions are in the syllabus for both courses to show you how to get to the Moodle site and what information you put on and all that jazz. Again, it's a little complicated for your first time doing it, and I know I've had people in the past who are like, why don't you just use Canvas? Why don't you just use all the Virginia Tech crap? Well, namely because I personally believe the Virginia Tech stuff is crap. I don't particularly like Canvas that much. And it's not really good when you have larger classes. So there's probably 500 or 600 or 700 people in both of these classes. So in times past, Canvas hasn't handled big numbers very well. And we use a lot of outside stuff like this anyway. So I know it muddies the water a little bit for you at the beginning of the semester to have to go get a book somewhere else and then sign up on another site somewhere else. I'm sure it's a pain in the ass. Uh, do you have other classes that make you do this too? I hope not. I hope I'm the only one that causes you a pain in the ass. But it's a much more stable platform. We like it a lot more. And I've been using it for, I don't know, most of this century so far. And it never changes. Virginia Tech has a tendency to change its entire operating system about once a decade. And so I've been here for almost 3 decades, and they've been through 3 platforms. Canvas is only the most recent one, and they're due to change it as well. Oh, thanks, dear. They're due soon to probably tank Canvas and change to something else. By the way, speaking of screwing up and just adopting new systems for no good reason, which screw up, how about this great Virginia Tech issue where none of the email is working because they randomly decided to change to Microsoft? And everybody, I'm assuming this has affected you all, and it's affecting all the professors who are way slower than you all are, by the way, in terms of adopting new technologies. But they just randomly said, well, we're going to leave Gmail, the most popular mailing system on planet Earth, to go to Microsoft. And all of us professor types are like, why? Is there something different? No, there's nothing different. We're just going to change it all. And you're like, God. And it is working fabulously so far. And by that, I mean the entire system pretty much crashed, which is why I usually start courses a week or 2 weeks in advance. And I've been sending out emails that none of you have gotten. No one got the emails I sent 2 weeks ago. So how effective has that been? How affected have you all been by this debacle of changing an email 5 days before classes start? That's my rant on that. And that gets me back to my rant on why do I use an outside system? Because Virginia Tech likes to change their systems all the time for no apparent reason. And I like stability in my systems that I use. So that's why we use it. So my apologies for those that will have to go sign up on Moodle. But once you're there, it's way easier. Most students for the last 20 years have told us they really love it, that the whole course is kind of outlined there. All the assignments are lined up by the weeks. And you can see the whole thing, and you just kind of click around and take the stuff there. So we've received overwhelmingly positive feedback on Moodle. That's why we use it. Sorry for that long rant. However, that's why we do it that way, and that's why you have to go through it. But once you get in there, it's all good to go. We do have a new, let's see, Kat subscribed with Prime. Katie subscribed with Prime. Let's see, Kat watched the intro videos. Ellie Pettit was the one who asked the question about VitalSource. So the World Regions textbook is on VitalSource, unless you buy the paper copy. Ooh, sexy, the paper copy. Some people still prefer paper. And this is the book you're seeking, the Plaid Avengers World. What edition is this? The 12th? An even dozen editions. This is one of my, I love the artwork on this one. This is one of my favorite covers so far. You see the Plaid Avenger there in the middle as the referee between the East and the West. It's the new century. It's a new Cold War between Uncle Sam and the Dragon of China. Particularly proud of that cover. I really like it. I hope you like it as well. And I'll get to the wine books in just a second, but let me catch up on the chatter here in the chat room. First time chatter from CA32 who says howdy. Well, howdy, CA32. Welcome to the Plaid Twitch channel. Let's see. Natty Man says, how do you expect the blog post to be formatted / written? Nat, it's in the syllabus, right?
Yeah, it's in the syllabus. There's links to examples for each type
right.
of blog in the syllabus.
Okay, so Natty Man, obviously you're in the wine course, and so if you read through all the assignments, well, actually no, it's halfway through. Once you get through as you start going through the syllabus, there are descriptions of each of the assignments. The first section of assignments are all about watching videos and taking quizzes and reading books and book chapters and taking quizzes. And then the second half of the assignments are all about blog action. And so you'll just see it all in the syllabus. Once you get to that point, you'll be like, oh, it'll say, for all the remaining assignments, you need to create a blog. And here's how you do the blog. And here's the exact way you do the blog. And here's the exact format for the blog. And there'll actually be links in there to 3 different, what'd you say, blog examples, Katie, or different types of, oh yeah. So there'll be examples for each type of blog assignment in there for you to use as a guide. So there's even a link in there that once you create your blog, there's a link in the syllabus that you will click on to go give your blog link to our TA team so they can get in, so they can get access to your blog and know where it's at so they can start grading. And you can start doing blog assignments right now. In fact, in both courses, you can start doing a variety of assignments. I assume everybody who's an awesome student who's in here early before the semester even begins listening to some dork rant on Twitch, you're probably already great students that have already started the course. For those of you that don't know this, there's already tons of assignments open in both classes you could have been doing for the last 2 weeks, but you can start them now. You don't have to wait on me. Both the wine class and world regions are self-guided. There are lots of assignments at your disposal the entire semester. However, for you seasoned veterans, you already know this, there's tons of stuff you can work ahead on. What you can't do in my classes is get behind. So there's tons of things you can do, but every week starting Friday, Friday for world regions, Sunday for wine, every week starting in week 1, there are assignments that disappear. So you need to make sure to do the assignments for the week in which they are expiring, but you can work way ahead. And particularly when it comes to the wine class, which there's a lot of blogging involved. I shouldn't say there's a lot involved. You can do as much as you want or as little as you want. You should probably do some though, because that's how you learn about wine, is actually tasting the wine and talking about the wine and writing about the wine. It's the best learning tool there is. So I heartily encourage you to use that best learning tool to learn. So when it comes to the wine class, you can start blogging your heart out, read through the whole syllabus and see all the assignments about tasting individual wines and blogging about them every week, or doing wine and food pairings and blogging about them, or doing wine and cheese pairings and blogging about that, or even winery visitations and blogging about that. You can start going on that. You could, a highly, highly productive individual who was super motivated could finish the wine class in a month or 2. If you really want to get down and boogie, you can do it. And that way you are freeing up the last days, weeks, or even months of this semester to concentrate on your other courses, or just to have a very good time as you approach graduation in May. For the World Regions class, that also applies, albeit you don't have all the assignments available to you yet. So with World Regions, you can go and start doing all the book quizzes. You could run the whole book in the next week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, however fast you read and take quizzes, and you could get up to almost 400 points worth of just book reading quizzes and have it done as quickly as you can. And therefore, you could then have more time to focus on other things throughout this semester and other classes. And I fully expect highly motivated people and good students like you all. Wine folks, you should finish the wine class 3 weeks before the end of the semester. You should. World Regions, you should finish 2 weeks before the end of the semester, and you can finish before that. So I'm not trying to throw down any challenges on people, but we have had people that have finished a month before the semester ends. Some people 5 weeks before the semester ends. And again, the whole point of that is I like to incentivize people to work at their pace, but work ahead. And understand that the faster you finish my class, you can focus on your other classes, or focus on having a good time at the end of the semester. That's what I focus on, is the good time part. Okay, but once again, I've gone off on a rant and gotten behind on the chats. So I got a shout out from a Natty Man. Hopefully that answers your question. And go ahead and open up the syllabus and pan down to the parts probably halfway through the descriptions of the assignments, and it'll say assignments 6 through 12 require a blog, and here are the instructions for that. Let me see if you see that and if it makes sense to you. And thanks for that question, Natty Man. First time chatter from BB Wolf 123, who says hello. Hello, BB Wolf. Good screen name. The wolf is in the house. Back to Cat 101, who says, should we reach out to you in an email if we have SSD accommodations? Yes. Yes, you should. And actually, they've gotten pretty good. This is the first year I remember that I'm actually getting SSD accommodations directly from the SSD office before the semester even begins. So I've already gotten a bunch of emails, but yes, you should follow up with me ASAP and say, hey, I got this letter, and you attach the letter and tell me what you need. And then of course, I pass it along to my TAs who make it all work, because I don't really work. But we have people that do, and they will be here to help you out with all of your accommodations and needs and grading. So back to the chat. Swish_TN says syllabus was very thorough and detailed. Thanks. Well, thank you, Swish. A lot of people have dropped the course because they're like, the syllabus is too long, so the class must be hard. The syllabus is actually precisely long so that all of your questions are answered and you understand everything, so that the semester should be easier. But I understand, if you can't make it through a 30-page syllabus, my classes are probably not for you. Natty Man, back to Natty Man, who says, Outlook is the worst and I'll die on that hill. Yeah, I'm not really looking forward. Again, I'm old. I'm not really looking forward to changing to another system I've never used in life, for the very, very, very good reason of, oh, there isn't one. Somebody randomly decided, let's change. And you're like, man, I am not such an old fuddy-duddy that, or I've turned ultra-conservative in my elder declining years, that I'm like, change is bad. I think change is good. I'm pretty liberal. One of the reasons you have the conservative movement, and by that I don't mean in the United States, I mean conservatives globally and historically. Conservatives are people who are not so much anti-change, but are weary of change, are leery of change, are questioning, why are we changing? So I'm actually more liberal on a daily, regular basis. But I'm becoming conservative when it comes to things like technology, because I'm like, why are we inventing things and changing things that nobody asked for, that don't seem to have any measurable benefit to anybody? So conservative folks in general are, their baseline is, why change things that don't need changing? And I'm like, I'm a little conservative when it comes to that. By the way, I'm borderline Luddite anymore. If you don't know what Luddite is, Luddite? Somebody look that up for me. Is it Luddite or Luditte? Or is it Ludite? I can't remember. But Luddite is a great term that you should start calling old people like me, because I am becoming more of a Luddite. That is someone who is, the term Luddite means completely averse to technology and anti-technology and anti-change. And I never really thought of myself as a Luddite. In fact, when I started teaching 25 years ago, I used to adopt all kinds of new technologies and things were fun. But at this point, I'm kind of becoming more of a Luddite of, I don't really think a lot of these technologies are benefiting young people. And they're not benefiting me, so I'm becoming more of a traditionalist. Let's go. I might even go back to the classroom. I might start teaching live again. I might start using an abacus. Actually, I'm joking. I never used an abacus, and I never even used a calculator, so I'm good either way. But I am becoming more of a Luddite, and I'm feeling like all of the folks, your generation, and even the one above you, have all lived through an era since you've been born that everybody's plugged into the internet and social media, and you live your lives online and all that jazz. And I'm just not convinced, one, that it's that particularly great for you, and two, I'm definitely convinced that it ain't making anybody any happier. So I'm kind of in my elder statesman years, I'm like, I kind of want to go back to the real world. Let's go back to being real world stuff. I might even take up fly fishing. I was joking about it. I might become a fisherman just to go out in the real world and see real stuff. It's one of the reasons why I love wine and why I love the wine class, for you folks in the wine class. because no matter what social media you're on or how plugged in or connected you are in today's connected, geeky world, you still got to eat. And you still got to drink. And I love those components of life that technology can't really displace. And I love the wine class because, one, I like wine, but also it's more that I like to teach you all that wine is a communal beverage. It brings people together as meals used to do. Most places in Europe and the rest of the world, meals still bring people together, not in America so much. But wine also brings people together. It's a convivial beverage. You don't sit in your house by yourself and drink a bottle of Chardonnay on the couch. I mean, some people do, and they're called alcoholics. But wine in general is used to imbibe together in conversation over meals. And that's the real beauty of the wine class. I'm going to teach you how to navigate those waters and be super smart, or at least super savvy on what these terms mean and why we drink together and how we do food and wine pairings, because that's the enriching part of the class. Is it enriches your life. You're going to get some brain smarts too, but it will hopefully enrich your lifestyle. By the way, I kind of feel the same way about world regions. I teach world regions not because I want you to know these specific facts X, Y, and Z, and I want you to believe my personal opinion about what's happening in the Gaza Strip right this second. It's more that I want to teach you enough about the world, hopefully in a fun, casual way, that you are enriched for your life, that you understand the world and you can navigate in it better, and you can talk to other folks intelligently about things that are happening, and that perhaps you will learn enough about the world to want to travel in it and see things and affect change and help people even perhaps. Or at least if you're going to take up a cause that you get passionate about, you know about these things because you are a cosmopolitan, a worldly person. So both of my classes, both the intro to world regions, intro to the world I call it, as most people take as a freshman, and the introduction to wine that most people take as a senior. Both of these courses I teach, and I'm quite passionate about teaching because I want people to lead better lives. I mean, it's going to be great if you get an A, if that's what you want. But the real deal is that it helps you for the rest of your life, not just this semester, and doesn't really... I'm just not that concerned if you take these classes so you can get your GPA up. I'm like, I'm sure, do what you want to do. That's not the mission of these classes, though. The mission is to make your life better. And how did I even get off on that rant? I'm sorry, friends. Let me get back to the chat room. Oh, I was on Natty Man who says, Outlook is the worst. I'll die on that hill. Change for the sake of change is not always a particularly great thing. And the outlook change is ridiculous, much less a whole lot on a much bigger scale, a whole lot of technologies and apps that come out every 2 seconds to help your lives. Not all of them are probably going to help that much. Try to spend as much time as you can in the real world with real people, talking, maybe even face-to-face, not online. You'll lead happier, better lives. But that's just the dad talking in me. Let's get back to the chat room and see what you all are saying. First time chatter from Dead Pixel. Good screen name, Dead Pixel. Dead Pixel says, my friend missed a bunch of important emails from his professors because of the switch. Because of the switch. Because we need to change something that was working just fine. Well, I hate that. I wonder how many people in my courses still have not gotten anything and would only know what to do in class if they, on their own accord, went and checked the Canvas page. Hopefully we'll sort through this mess in the days to come, and hopefully it's only 1 or 2 days to come. Cat 101 says that they will join Natty Man on that hill, so that'll be 3 of us. Swish says, Dead Pixel, I didn't even realize until today. Yeah, a lot of people didn't even know what's going on. So you may have had other professors and other people even hit you up that something went terribly wrong, and all the emails went to Digital Death World. Back to Hallis FN, who says the switch to Microsoft was such a force. Yeah. And not the force like a Jedi. That's the good force. Oh my gosh, CA32 subscribed with Prime. Thank you so much, CA32. Again, what does that get you, Katie, when you subscribe? To get you like the plaid head?
I'm sorry, Putin.
And the Putin icon, the Vladimir Putin icon. Yeah, that's what you get. All those riches of the Plaid Avenger head and a Vladimir Putin head. Let's see. First time chatter says Jason 73421. Thanks for your first time chat, Jason. At what point would you no longer give students breaks, if you even do, depending, of course?
Let me explain the points. Like you don't get a break so much.
Yeah. So Jason, there really aren't any breaks because both courses are based on work. So, and there's more work than you need. So again, for those of you that have already watched the intro video in World Regions or have already taken World Regions, you know that these are point accumulation based courses. There are a variety of assignments for you to do. You will build up points based on those assignments. At the end of the semester, your point total determines your grade. So, I believe in World Regions, you need 1,350 points to get an A. In wine class, it's probably 1,200. Let's call it 1,200. So you need 1,200 points to get an A in wine class, right? All right. Well, here's the deal. I'm going to offer you something more like 2,000 point opportunities. In World Regions, it'll probably be 2,500 or 2,600 points of opportunity. You don't get the points just for trying something or clicking something. You actually get scored, but your points that you get are based on how well you did on each assignment. So if it's a 20-point assignment and you get half the questions right, well, you get 10 points. You guys got the math on that? Are you good enough math majors? So if you get all the questions right, you get 20 points. And there are multiple assignments due every week. And as I've already pointed out, you can work ahead right now. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can be working ahead. And some of the assignments in World Regions, you can take more than once. So if you didn't do well the first time, you can take it again. But not all assignments. Some assignments are one and done. You only got one shot at it. In the wine class, there's blogging. And so you screwed up and didn't do blogs very good your first week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and you only got half the points. Learn from your mistakes. Do better. You'll get more points. And in both classes, again, there are more points offered than you need to get an A, so you have a little bit of wiggle room. The only way you fail my classes, and everyone who's ever failed my classes will tell you this, the only way you can fail is just to not do work. And you put stuff off. And you're like, well, Boyer told me there's more points than I need to get an A or a D or a pass. So I'm too busy. I didn't do anything this week. And then next week comes around. Oh, I'm really busy this week. I'm not doing anything this week. Oh, and then week 4, you got really sick. Oh, and then week 5, your grandmother died and you couldn't do any work. Oh my God, in week 7, your cat died and you couldn't do, oh my God, week 13, your neighbor's cat died and you were really close to that cat. So you had to take another week and you got an F. So I don't know if you see where I'm going with this, but you have to do work every week until you get the grades you want. You do not have to do every single assignment every week, but the more assignments you do early on, the more wiggle room you have the rest of the semester. If you wait till halfway through the semester to start, you're going to not do well in this course. So you can work ahead, but you can't get behind. And therefore, sorry for this long question, but why'd you just delete that, by the way?
Spam.
Oh, I thought they were asking me if they had student breaks. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see that one. I'm still the whole screen shifted. Sorry. Sorry to interrupt my own rant. Back to you, Jason. So therefore, Jason, there's no real breaks to be given and there's no curve to be applied because there's not any single assignment that you actually have to do. So there's no midterm, there's no final, there's no big 20-page term paper that you're like, oh, I was sick that day, so I couldn't do the midterm. It doesn't matter to me. There's quizzes and assignments due every single week. So if you indeed do in 1 week, you do break your ankle, get COVID, your grandmother and your cat dies, and your grandmother's cat dies, yeah, you're probably not going to do any work that week. But there's 14 or 15 other weeks of the semester that you do need to do work. So The only people that really get screwed and really try to hassle me are ones in the final weeks of the semester that literally in 2 or 3 weeks before the semester's over will hit me up going, I had a really rough semester. I didn't do anything. So what do I do now? And it's like, take the course again next year. I mean, that's so in that sense, no, I don't really give breaks because you have 15 and a half or 16 weeks of every semester. So we have 15 and a half, let's call it 16 weeks of assignments. Unless you have 16 individual excuses of absences for entire weeks, I can't really give anybody a break. And by the way, these things are open virtually all week long, with some exceptions. Movies in world regions are only open from Saturday till Tuesday of every week, and there's reasons why I do this. But you can't say, oh, I got sick on Friday and therefore I didn't do anything of this whole last week. I'm sorry, that's not excused because you had Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to do assignments. So if you waited till Friday and your grandmother's cat gets sick, I can't help you. There's no break to be given. Does that make sense? And by the way, the structure I'm referring to here in terms of you go to work, you do the work every week. On some Monday you do some work, and Tuesday you do some work, on Wednesday and Friday you do some work, and at the end of that week you have all these points. This structure might sound familiar to you. It's called a job. So when you have a job, you go to work every day, and at the end of the week they give you money. I don't give you money, I give you points. So it's a job, and much like a job in your career in the future, you can't go to your boss on Friday and say, I didn't do any work, but I need my paycheck. Is that cool? It is not cool. And you certainly can't wait 16 weeks of your job and never show up and not do any work and then say, oh, I didn't feel good the last 4 months, but can I still get my paycheck? No, you can't. Sorry, there is no paycheck to be had after a week or 16 weeks of not doing any of the work, which you already have in front of you. You can get to work right now. Okay, hopefully that helped. And now we're on to, and Jason was following up saying, like if someone was struggling. Yes, if you're struggling, my answer holds true even if you're struggling. If you're struggling and you don't do anything for a week, well, that's 1 week. If you don't do anything for 2 weeks in my classes, you need to get some help somewhere. You need to go to student services or get to a counselor or talk to your advisor. If you get to 3 weeks in a row where you don't do anything in my class, you need to get the hell out of there. And I'm not saying that in a mean way. I actually don't want people to fail. I do not want people's GPA to be hurt. I want you to graduate on time. I want you to get all the things you want to get. But if you're having troubles, you need to head it off at the pass. And just ignoring emails, just ignoring your classes, and not just mine, any of your classes, just ignoring classes, putting it off, or saying, I'll deal with it next week. No, I'll deal with it the week after that. I'll hit up my advisor next month. That will get you no sympathy by the end. Even with people who do have some sort of chronic health issues or mental health issues, I know these things happen, but you cannot wait until the end and ask for help after the game is over. Do try to take that as a life lesson. Again, I'm not being mean. I'm not angry about it. I want you to succeed. But you can't wait till the end of the game and say, hey, I want the game to restart. You can't do it. All we can do is try to get you withdrawn from the semester or a late drop in the class. But my classes should be enjoyable. I want them to be enjoyable. So if you ever find yourself in that situation in any class where you have let multiple weeks go by without doing anything in that class, try to get to your counselors and your advisors quickly to see if maybe you need to take some time off from the semester or take the semester off. There's no shame in it. But don't wait till the end and then have an F on your transcript or multiple Fs and then start asking for help and want things to be unwound. It kind of doesn't really work that way because life doesn't work that way. So ask early, ask often. If you need some assistance, don't wait till the bitter end. Does that make sense? Okay. Natty Man says Luddite with 2Ds. Thank you, Natty Man, for that check. All right, well, looks like I'm all caught up on questions because there really wasn't that many questions. So I'm just here kind of raging about life. Hopefully nothing I said was too offensive to you. And if it was, again, this class might not be for you. This is the style of which I speak and in the spirit of which I teach. It is welcomed and respected and liked by most students, but not all. Some people think I'm totally the Antichrist. To each his own. We can only be the person that we are. And I've been doing this for 25 years now, and so I've fallen into a groove that I like and students seem to like, and this is how it works. It's not the flavor of the week for everybody, so if you don't like my style, if you don't like my voice, you should probably drop the class because you're going to hear my voice a lot in the recorded lectures. And I will throw this out here. When I was doing my little rant on being a Luddite, I really would like to get back to teaching live. I mean, this whole digital online screen time stuff, I found great fascination in 15 years ago when I started to go online. And we used to have really big classes. For those of you that don't know, I have semi-legendary status at Virginia Tech. And I'm not saying that I don't have any ego about it, but the reason why so many people know my name is because we used to be legendary. And I used to teach live, and we got so big at one point we were teaching in Burris Auditorium. We taught a live class in Burris Auditorium for like 3 years, I think. And all kinds of crazy stuff happened in that class. It was epic, hilarious. And to this day, I'm like, man, how did we not get fired? We did all kinds of crazy shit that would be wildly offensive in today's world, but it was just what we did to have fun back in the day. Anyway, I went online because the classes were so big, they became logistically very hard to pull off. And the technologies were getting cool at the time. Remember 13, 15 years ago, that's when kind of real social media started. There was some stuff before that. But, you know, you think about Facebook was before that, was already around 15 years ago, but really got big about 15 years ago. Twitter came out about 15 years ago. Probably half of the stuff you now use came out about 15 years ago. Instagram, I think, is a little bit more modern, and TikTok. But the rage and the rave towards social media and online stuff really started to take off about 15 years ago. So we used to do a lot of that stuff in class, and we were early adopters of a lot of this stuff, and it was fun and exciting. But now everybody does it, and now people are spending way too much time online. And my classes, as I've already suggested, are about the real world. They're about really understanding the world and going out and seeing it and meeting it and doing stuff in it. And wine is all about being convivial and eating and drinking with family and friends and conversing. And so I find myself in a weird reflective point in my career where I'm like, I think I want to go backwards to bring that excitement back to teaching live again, because I used to really like it. And now teaching online is just not as satisfying. And I wonder, is it as satisfying for you all? In your generation, would you prefer to see someone like me live again in the old school format of a dude on a stage in a lecture hall talking? Or do you actually prefer the way that this class is currently constructed? I'd love to hear the views of all 5 of you that are hanging out with me here today. Because I'm leading up to this, I'd love to hear your views if you would pop them into the chat room. Because if enough of you would like, I really, really, really want to do some live lecturing this semester in both classes. So I have often debated about doing maybe a Friday afternoon live lecture for World Regions. It's just about current events. And I'm just like, yep, I'm just going to pick a current event and do a lecture about it in, say, McBride 100. And come if you want to. You don't have to. Again, the way the class is structured, you don't have to do everything. But maybe we would do a live lecture on a current event and do a Q&A, and then have a quiz about it for points. The same is true with wine. I'd like to do a couple of different lectures with the wine course, particularly because wine is so sensory, it's so real, you have to kind of be there. So one of the things I've thought about doing in the wine class, I call it smell-o-vision, where we get together in a room and actually bring together every kind of fruit and vegetable and nut and spice and all these other things that we talk about describing in wine, and actually bring the products themselves so that everybody gets to kind of actually smell them and lock it into your memory of like, oh, I saw this wine description that it said it was black currants and allspice. I don't know what black currants and allspice smell or taste like. And I'm like, okay, well, let's get in a room and get some black currant and allspice and actually try it. So I would like to do some of those things. If any of you all think that you would be up for such endeavors, please hit me up and let me know. Back to Cat 101, who says, if we decide to participate in the Where's Waldo Plaid Avenger edition, do we need to dress in plaid to recreate the photos? No, some people have done that for bonus points, and of course you would get bonus points if you dress in plaid for the Where's Waldo, but it's not required, no. I started Where's Waldo last semester, and only a handful of people ended up doing it, so we kind of dropped it after several weeks. But more people tend to do it in spring, so if you all want the Where's Waldo game, I will start back up the Where's Waldo game and go take some pictures in new and exciting locations around campus for you to recreate, but you do not have to wear plaid. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, maybe a bonus point or two if you do. Okay, but do we have any other questions or any other comments? Does anybody have any input of if you would like live lectures at any point? Or are we all done here? And it's okay if we're all done here. It's almost been an hour. And again, it's early going in the semester, so unless you had specific questions, I won't bore or trouble you too much longer here on a lovely Sunday afternoon, although it's getting chilly. I hear it's supposed to start snowing. Is that true? So is it mix of sleet, rain, sleet, snow, of horribleness on Martin Luther King Day, or Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So it is a holiday tomorrow, which means classes don't officially start till Tuesday, but you are more than welcome to start up and go on assignments. If you have any troubles whatsoever logging in, you hit up me and Katie to get into Moodle if you have any troubles. If you have any questions about any specific assignments, just hit me up and I will be here. Otherwise, I guess we'll sign off if nobody has any other questions or comments. Any last minute thoughts from anybody? How about just one or two of you tell me, would you like to see a live lecture before the semester is done? Thank you, Natty Man. Natty Man says live lectures would be fun. Okay, that's one vote. One vote out of 1,200 people in the classes. Thank you, Natty Man. Well, I guess we've probably already overstayed our time here. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. Kat says, I would also like to experience your famous lectures. Well, I don't know if they're famous or infamous, but we shall endeavor to do our best. First time chatter from Hugh Hanna. Or is it Huff Hannah? I don't know. I can go either way with that. Huff Hannah or Hugh Hannah. I'd be interested in a live lecture. And thanks for your first time chatter, Hannah. Krista Foe says, I'd go to live lecture. All righty then. Now we've got 4 votes. Or was that 5? That's 5 votes. Sweet. And Huff Hannah says, I did my second attempt at her. That pronunciation was correct. It's Huff Hannah. Thank you, Huff Hannah. And with that, if there's no other questions, I will go ahead and sign off. If you all have any additional comments that you did not want to make in a public forum, that's cool. You can email them to me. I will respond almost instantaneously. That is if email is working, which we're still not exactly sure that it is. Otherwise, we will do another office hour probably probably this time next week, either Sunday afternoon or Monday night. I usually do the Monday nights throughout the semester. But if anybody has a preference, please email me. I actually will send out a questionnaire at some point of when you would like to do office hours and what topics you would like me to talk about in each of the classes that aren't in the syllabus already. But other than that, hit me up anytime for anything. I'm so happy that a handful of you all came out before the semester even began to try out the Twitch office hours. I hope you liked it. I hope you like the courses. I hope you learn a lot in each of them and have a great semester all the way through. And have a great Sunday today, the rest of this Sunday, and enjoy the inclement weather tomorrow. And other than that, have a great semester, a great life, and we'll see you this time next week, if not next Monday night. But for now, as always, party on.